Once again, Hansi Flick has reshaped Barcelona into a ruthless and highly dangerous force. Winners of the Super Cup. 3 straight El Clasico victories, including another final against Real Madrid. A squad packed with world-class stars performing at their absolute best. Yet at the same time, a team driven by a fearless new generation, already proving that the future has arrived. Experience, youth, balance, structure, a machine, all guided by a German mastermind with a clear vision. Winning is the mission, and through winning, Flick proves exactly why he's different. Because he doesn't just collect results, he delivers them the Barcelona way. What we're watching right now is intimidating. Hansi Flick's Barcelona is a real threat. And honestly, it shouldn't shock anyone. From every angle, what Flick has built at Barcelona is extraordinary. To put things into perspective, since arriving in the summer of 2024, his side have scored 253 goals across 87 matches at the time of this recording, nearly 3 goals per game. That level of attacking production is remarkable. Even more impressive is the consistency. Under Flick, Barcelona win roughly 75% of their matches, meaning he's taken points in nearly 3 out of every 4 games he's coached. Flick is outstanding, but the collective he has created elevates everything. As of now, Barcelona already hold their first trophy of the season, the Spanish Super Cup. They sit at the top of La Liga, 4 points clear of Real Madrid. There's still plenty to be decided, but the gap between both projects is clear. Simply put, Barcelona are pushing for everything. Last season was the warning shot. In his debut campaign, Flick stunned the football world by blending his philosophy into Barcelona's identity. The foundations remained: possession, control, dominance. But one subtle tweak in the way they played would soon evolve into something far more powerful. The first major change Flick introduced was transforming Barcelona's idea of controlled football into something far more aggressive and attacking. How? That's where the most talked about element of Flick's Barcelona comes into play: the high defensive line. The way Flick sets this Barcelona team up is risky, but more often than not, it pays off. Think about it this way: Barcelona already had the structure. They had the players and the principles. But the real difference between Xavi's Barcelona and Flick's version lies in how bold the football is. Simply put, how much more risk they're willing to take. Flick's vision was clear: dominate matches in the opposition's half. Barcelona didn't just press teams, they trapped them. Especially last season, Spanish football and much of Europe struggled to find answers. After a cautious start to the campaign, Barcelona suddenly exploded. The statement moment came with that night at the Bernabeu. Beating Real Madrid 4-0 away from home was the clearest sign that this Barcelona was something different. Even more impressive, that result came just days after a 4-1 Champions League win over Bayern Munich at home. Barcelona controlled every inch of the pitch. They went on to defeat Real Madrid 3 more times that season, including the Copa del Rey final and the decisive La Liga victory that secured the title. In Flick's first season, Barcelona won every major domestic trophy in Spain. That national treble could have easily turned into a continental quadruple if not for the second leg semi-final result against Inter Milan in the Champions League. That tie was madness, pure chaos. An 8-7 aggregate scoreline, not decided by penalties, but by football at its most extreme. It was a perfect reflection of the team Flick had built. They could score at will. They just lacked a few final pieces to complete the puzzle. Even so, Barcelona came painfully close to winning every major competition they entered. It was an outstanding debut season for the German coach, and looking back now, there's one achievement that makes both last season and the current one even more impressive. To understand that, you have to look at why Barcelona president Joan Laporta and the board chose to move on from former manager Xavi Hernandez. Xavi did an exceptional job laying the foundations for Flick to continue Barcelona's rebuild. But unfortunately, the challenge became too heavy for him, and eventually, Xavi chose to speak out. Xavi openly voiced his frustration during multiple crises, repeatedly pointing out that Barcelona simply couldn't compete with Real Madrid financially. He often referenced how Madrid were able to sign Jude Bellingham for €100 million, while Barcelona were forced to rely on academy prospects and long-term promises. This became a problem for Laporta and the club. That's why, despite the board privately urging Xavi to stay, they ultimately decided to part ways. Barcelona were looking for a coach who truly understood the club's financial reality, someone who could work with the only real weapon they had left, La Masia. And Laporta believed he had found that man in Hansi Flick. Laporta famously described La Masia as the crown jewel of Barcelona, the one lever the club could still pull without risking financial punishment. Flick understood this perfectly, which makes his work even more impressive. With almost no transfer budget, he still found a way to make Barcelona competitive again. He didn't just assemble a squad, he built a team. There are plenty of star names in this Barcelona side, but if there's one player who truly embodies Flick's system and philosophy, it's Raphinha. Honestly, Raphinha's story is as emotional as it is remarkable. When Flick arrived last summer, Raphinha wasn't even expected to stay at the club. Under Xavi, he had grown tired of being a rotation player. By his own admission, he had one foot out of the door. Flick changed everything. He convinced Raphinha to stay by presenting him with a clear plan. He made him understand that the new system would be built around his strengths and suit his style of play. Flick did his part, and Raphinha delivered. The 2024-25 season, and even the current 2025-26 campaign, have been sensational for the Brazilian in every sense. In 2024-25, Raphinha produced the best season of his career, 34 goals and 25 assists across all competitions. That's 59 goal contributions, including a Champions League hat-trick against Bayern Munich. And yet, for Flick, the goals were only part of the story. What truly stood out was Raphinha's work rate. He had become a unique player, not just for Barcelona, but across Europe, complete in every sense of the word. He evolved into a scorer, a creator, and more importantly, a leader, leading by example on the pitch, standing up for teammates in heated moments, relentless in the press, always providing answers when questions were being asked. He became the living embodiment of Flick's philosophy, relentless, attacking football. Raphinha is now a key piece of a fluid, dynamic front line. He often started on the left, drifting inside to shoot and create chaos, yet his influence on the right side remained unmistakable. A player who had evolved from potential into destiny, Lamine Yamal. Simply sensational. If Xavi Hernandez introduced Lamine Yamal to the world, Hansi Flick took him to an entirely different level. Honestly, Yamal has reached a point where, no matter how you analyze it, there's nothing to criticize when he's on the pitch. The numbers? Last season, he recorded 18 goals and 25 assists in 55 appearances for Barcelona. That's 43 goal contributions in 55 matches. The only pure wingers who outperformed him statistically were Raphinha, Mohamed Salah, and Ousmane Dembele. And here's the reality. Lamine Yamal is just 18 years old, competing at this level against players nearly twice his age. But with Yamal, it has never really been about statistics. If anything, it never was. He's the kind of player fans pay to see. Stadiums fill up for players like him, a true generational talent. Within Flick's system, Yamal checks every box. He completed more successful dribbles than any player across Europe's top 5 leagues last season, and this year, he's leading that category once again. His production hasn't dropped either. 9 goals and 11 assists in 23 matches. That's 20 goal contributions in 23 games, despite missing part of the season while dealing with persistent injury issues. At just 18, Yamal came incredibly close to winning football's biggest individual prize. He finished second in the Ballon d'Or voting, only behind Dembele. Raphinha and Yamal have formed a dynamic, explosive attacking partnership. Balanced by a seasoned veteran Flick knows better than almost anyone, Robert Lewandowski, a born finisher. Even at 37, Lewandowski continues to deliver. He found the net in the Super Cup final against Real Madrid. Last season, he scored 42 goals in all competitions for Barcelona. This campaign, he already has 10 goals in 20 appearances, a number that could have been even higher if injuries hadn't disrupted his rhythm. Flick and Lewandowski share history, and it shows. Lewandowski fits into this Barcelona attack perfectly, a team that creates chances in abundance, led by one of the greatest finishers the game has ever seen. The truth is, Lewandowski's career numbers almost go unnoticed at this point. His journey at Barcelona alone is remarkable. He has scored 111 goals and provided 22 assists in just 167 appearances for the club. Across his entire career, he's recorded 708 goals and 195 assists in 1,006 matches. 903 goal contributions in total. And that goal against Real Madrid was a timely reminder that age hasn't dulled his instincts. Lewandowski is still sharp, still dangerous, still scoring. In reality, the entire Barcelona front line contributes goals, and Flick knows that. That's the ultimate objective of his philosophy. It doesn't matter how many goals the opponent scores. The priority is simple. Barcelona must always score more. To make that work, balance is essential. Flick needs control behind the attackers. A midfielder capable of pulling the strings, dictating the tempo, and owning the game. And according to Flick's blueprint, the so-called Spanish Harry Potter is central to everything. Pedri Potter, for good reason. Pedri is pure magic in this system. To put things into perspective, among La Liga midfielders this season, on a per-game basis, Pedri ranks first in completed passes, short passes completed, through balls, assists, progressive carries, actions, and touches. The list goes on, but we'll stop here, because at some point, it almost feels unfair to keep listing how good he is. He controls Barcelona's midfield. He is the engine. Alongside Frenkie de Jong, Flick has found the perfect foundation to dominate possession and dictate rhythm. Together, they set the tempo of the match. Ahead of them, players like Dani Olmo in the central attacking role or Fermin Lopez in similar positions operate intelligently just behind Lewandowski. They understand space, get involved in goal-scoring sequences, and crucially, they help trigger the counter-press, winning the ball back immediately after it's lost. And then there's Ferran Torres, the Shark, whose timely contributions continue to make an impact whenever he's called upon. But this Barcelona side isn't just about attack and midfield. Defensively, every player understands the system. Pau Cubarsí has emerged as the cornerstone at centre-back, calm, composed, and only 18 years old. He can partner Ronald Araujo, Eric Garcia, Gerard Martin, or even Andreas Christensen when fit. The fullbacks are vital to Flick's structure. Jules Koundé has become the perfect support for Yamal, securing the defensive side while still pushing forward to hurt opponents. On the opposite flank, when Alejandro Balde accelerates, stopping him becomes nearly impossible. Still, as impressive as the squad was last season, Flick knew that to truly take this team to the next level and make Barcelona play exactly how he envisioned, a few key adjustments were necessary. The most important one was in goal. Goalkeeping was a major issue for Barcelona last season. Historically, it's been a position of instability for the club. The 2024-25 campaign was so problematic that Flick had to convince a retired Wojciech Szczesny to return, initially as a backup, before becoming the starter after Marc-Andre ter Stegen missed most of the season with a serious knee injury. In many ways, it worked. Szczesny delivered crucial saves and played a role in Barcelona winning the domestic treble. But that summer was about thinking long-term. Flick's system demanded a goalkeeper who offered the best of both worlds. A traditional shot stopper, someone capable of making big saves in key moments, but also a modern sweeper keeper. With Barcelona's high defensive line, the goalkeeper had to know when to step out, clear danger, and feel completely comfortable in possession. None of the existing options fully fit that profile. Ter Stegen was excellent with the ball, but over time became prone to costly errors, especially in Europe. Szczesny was strong between the posts, but uncomfortable in possession. And Iñaki Peña, realistically, was never truly part of the long-term plan. Barcelona needed a goalkeeper tailored to the system. Flick went out and signed the best goalkeeper in La Liga last season, at an incredible price. João Garcia from Espanyol. His reputation was rising rapidly across Spain and Europe. Despite playing for an Espanyol side that narrowly avoided relegation by just 2 points, Garcia was named in La Liga's Team of the Season, largely because his saves were central to their survival. During the 2024-25 campaign, Garcia made more saves than any goalkeeper in La Liga, with 146, the second highest total across Europe's top 5 leagues. And he wasn't just a shot stopper. His passing accuracy of 73.41% showed clear comfort on the ball, even if Espanyol's style didn't fully allow him to showcase it. At Barcelona, he's been a revelation. So far this season, he ranks second in clean sheets in La Liga, with 7 in 13 matches. The only goalkeeper ahead of him, Thibaut Courtois, has played 6 more games, due to Garcia missing the early part of the campaign. Even more impressive is his save percentage, 78.6%, the highest in La Liga this season. Add to that 301 accurate passes and an 89% pass completion rate, and you get exactly what Flick was searching for. The perfect blend, the best of both worlds.